welcome to the 2TAKES podcast with April and Shannon, where we explore topics of interest to us from two different points of view. Today's topic is excuses give away our power. So think about that. Excuses give away our power. So April's going to kick off this topic today. Take it away.
I am going to kick it off because I've had two instances just in the last couple of weeks where I've had excuses doled out to me, and it drives me insane.
Doled out. I love that phraseology.
What, doled out to me?
Yeah.
And I will say, coming as a person who, not even in a work role, just as a person, I don't like to screw things up. I don't like to admit wrongdoing. So excuses come to my mind when things happen. One of the biggest growth points that I've had to learn personally is to suck it up and just admit when you're wrong. Instead of coming at a problem with 9 million excuses of why X, Y, and Z happened and how it couldn't be avoided and it wasn't your fault and this, that, and everything else, those all may be true. But being able to just say, walking into Shannon's office or whatever and saying, I screwed up. I made a mistake. This is what happened. This is what I'm doing to mitigate the issue, to get things fixed. I've already got the ball rolling, whatever the case may be. These are the stop gaps I'm putting in place from here on out to make sure it doesn't happen again. Those are the grown-up ways to handle it. Now, the two instances that I'm talking about, one of them happened to be from a vendor that we work with who got a project screwed up. We didn't get part of the project delivered to us, and we recognized it in time. We contacted them. And then the call that I got back was literally every excuse you could possibly imagine. And part of the blame then being put on us too, and almost acting like we were being dishonest about saying we didn't get a portion of the deliverables. And, instead of just saying, I am so sorry, I have no clue what happened, I will make it right. And I'm not saying that you should do those types of things, obviously, to take advantage of people. But I didn't need to hear all of the excuses. I get that there may have been frustration in the background. Files may not have worked correctly on their end. I don't know. But I don't need to hear your internal dialogue of why everything is screwed up. I need to hear, and when I am verbalizing something to someone else about a screw up that I had, what they need to hear is A, I'm sorry, B, I take responsibility, C, here's how I'm fixing it. Mm-hmm. My other big pet peeve is, in this day and age of technology, we have countless resources at our disposal to remind us of things. We have calendars on our computer. We have calendars on our phone. We have watches that vibrate 10 minutes before a meeting is supposed to start. We have all of these things at our disposal. So to have something scheduled and not show because you forgot. If that's the case, you forgot, you didn't see the notification or whatever, just tell me, I forgot. I am so sorry. I did not see the notification. but to put the blame back on someone else, that being, I forgot, you need to put more stopgaps in place so that I don't forget again. You need to email me before the meeting starts. You need to call me before the meeting starts. You need to X, Y, or Z before the meeting starts. No. No, I don't. I scheduled it. I know that it's on the calendar. I know because I can see that it is on your calendar. At some point in time, you have to take some personal responsibility and say, yep, maybe I need to put more reminders in place. Mm-hmm. So those are my two things that have happened in the last couple of weeks, months, that really, really, really come to mind. And it not only takes away your power, it takes away your legitimacy.
Yes.
You know, the phrase, fool me once, shame on you, fool me once, shame on me. Right? Did I say that right?
Fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me.
Yeah. Thank you. Dear Lord. I screwed up there. Thank you, Shannon.
But thanks for owning it and not giving me an excuse. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Unless I was having a stroke, then I would need you to know the time. But it's like, you know, it devalues you in the face of the person that you are giving the excuses to also. You know, once in a blue moon, if there are excuses for something, that's fine. But for every single thing, no, just no. It makes you look non-professional. It makes you look unreliable. It makes you look kind of like you shouldn't be the first person that somebody should turn to if they need something to get done. So that's my take on it. My personal rant for the day.
Fair enough. Yeah, I was thinking about this because I don't even know what you would classify this person's role. Probably more of an instructor. Wasn't a teacher. It was something I signed up for, was going to learn from this person. And I felt like the exercise in excuses maybe went a little far in this regard, and it shut me down. I forgot to share this with April, so this is new news to her. But they would ask for a reaction, an input, something back from me. And when I would state something, that's an excuse. That's an excuse. Shut down. And I walked away, you know, going, they wanted something from me. And I had to really think, was it truly an excuse or was it a reason? And if they weren't asking for a reason, then how were they not receiving it? Was it truly a reason or an excuse? And how do we decipher what that is? So I had to kind of look that up because I was put in a situation that was extremely frustrating for me. And I learned through that. But when I looked that up, is a reason is typically logical. It's a logical explanation. It's rational. Like April says, in this particular case that I was privy to that she's speaking of, is if the reason was, you know what, I didn't see the third file in an email, that is my bad. However, I have it now. Your print piece will be out in time on Friday. Sorry, it's going to lag between the other two just by a couple days, but it will be in time. Okay, I can accept that. We can accept reasons that are logical. It's like, okay, you know what? I'm not perfect either. It didn't cause a catastrophe. I didn't have to buy a lame excuse that I know I'm not believing. 2 files were delivered, but the third one, all in the same email, weren't delivered. You know, you just start picking it apart, and then that person kind of expected you to believe it. And it just has created this weird sense in that relationship. So when I thought about that, going, a reason is logical, and oftentimes we will accept a reason. An excuse, how does that differ? An excuse, according to my notes here, is an explanation put forward to justify or defend a fault. And so you think about that going, okay, are we masking a situation? Are we placing blame on someone else? So in the example that April alluded to about missing a meeting that's clearly on calendars and putting the blame on her, taking away the power of, I can control my own calendar. That's on me. This particular instance gave up his power in the situation to do better by not even understanding that responsibility was on him, gave it tape. You should have called me. You should have emailed me more. You should remind me again. You should set reminders. It's like, really, that's an excuse. And it was a defense of a fault on their end. So thinking about that excuse versus a reason. Reasons we can learn from, they're logical. If there is a reason something goes sideways, then we can put plans in place forward that we don't have to keep revisiting those reasons. If we are living with a culture in our companies of excuses, they are plentiful. Everyone can come up with an excuse, but there is no rectifying a situation, limiting a pain point, creating a different experience, with excuses being what happens out of unfortunate circumstances. There's no learning there. So I thought about this. What would be an example I could provide to you in a work setting? So say you had a sales presentation that was rejected, and you go to your boss and he goes, really? So XYZ company is not going to buy the package or the recommendation that we put in front of them. Do you have a reason for that? And your reply is, they just don't see the value. They're just really short-sighted that way. I don't think that they would see the right decision if it hit them in the face. Right? Like, that is an excuse. That is an excuse. If they didn't see the value, a reason may be, you know what? I missed two of the main core purposes people buy this product. I missed that. And I won't do it again because I see the reaction is they lack a full understanding of it. A reason might be they just didn't have the budget first quarter, but you know what? I'm going to follow up second quarter. Maybe that situation on their end has changed. As an employer or a boss, I'd be like, okay, they got to the root of the issue. There is a reason. And from there, we can make a plan. Do we present again in second quarter? Do we refine our sales materials? Did we miss a pain point that our product solves and we just don't even mention it so they don't realize that we are a solution to what they're looking for? Reasons allow us a way forward. Excuses do not. We look at the moment of accountability. Excuses really don't involve any accountability on the person giving them. No accountability whatsoever. Everything else is someone else's fault. Well, guess what? When we talk about excuses giving away power, if it's always in someone else's reaction to us or their decision or their inability to make a decision, whatever it may be, we give away our power. But if we take accountability for the role that we play, for reasons and not excuses, then we have the power to be better moving forward, maybe fixing an error and being a hero, not a zero. I knew April would roll her eyes. But I mean, it really can position you in a bad situation, turning it into a good situation. It's like, okay, that tripped them up and they probably had a bad day, but it didn't cause me any pain, but at least I understand what's happening. So accountability is maybe I missed a time window and I just didn't explain the process well enough. But that accountability is what can we do about it going forward. So I tell you this to think about in the moment. Are we delivering excuses or reasons? And if we are delivering reasons, what do we learn from that? And what can we present knowing the reasons? And how can we make that situation a better one? Do you have any final thoughts, April, on that?
I do not. I do actually. I think that once you realize that you've crossed the threshold of that understanding and being able to be humble enough to have the humility, whatever the case may be, to admit your faults as much as you may not want to, that you take a lot of power back for yourself. And you, in the long run, by and large, not in every circumstance, not like everything is absolute, but you will instill more trust and confidence in yourself as well from those around you. So
absolutely. Oh, sorry.
No, I was going to say that's the long-term takeaway for me for a short-term pain of admitting a wrong, admitting a fault. The long-term consequence, by and large, is that you are going to gain respect. You are going to gain understanding.
More times than not.
Yeah.
Yeah. It made me think, just last thought for me is that we have been talking about this as if the person watching this podcast is going to take that on themselves. Hopefully that's the case. But we also may be having people that are in leadership roles watching this podcast that may just need to be aware of an excuse versus a reason. So we can bring that to the table. So when we are dissecting something that maybe went sideways within our company or through reaching a goal, is going, okay, well, what happened here? And if we are dialed into that's an excuse versus that's a reason, we can start training the people within our organizations on the difference too. So don't take this for yourself and then expect others to understand this as well. So,
but you can, just dovetailing off of that, you can, as an employee, as a manager, as an owner, lead by example. Yes. So if you make a mistake, own it. Just own it in front of your employees, own it in front of the people that you are leading, are managing, whatever the case may be. That you help create that culture. So if you perpetuate a culture of excuses because you're giving excuses every time something goes wrong to the people that are that you're leading, then you're gonna get back what you give. But if you are, and again, not 100% of the time is this true, but if you are willing to show your human side, admit your faults, show people how to move on from whatever it is, being able to be upfront and accountable and saying, hey team, I screwed this up. I'm sorry. Hopefully it will never happen again. This is what I'm doing to move forward, and just wanted to let you guys know. I've had to, fortunately not often, but I've had to send those emails or have those discussions with employees. And I think that it builds a rapport and a trust level that is invaluable.
Absolutely. And who doesn't want to help? Like if I missed this, can you help me? Can you help me do this? It's like, yeah, I'd rather that than go, well, why, Bob, did you let that happen? Then you're less likely to really help or be happy to help. So I think about this as the topics we explore on the 2TAKES podcast is we want life to be simpler for people. We want things to be happy. We want teams to be built. We want great companies to happen because we've explored these topics. So if you have a topic you want our 2TAKES on, please let us know. Otherwise, keep following the podcast as we address a wide variety of topics that we can be better in our roles. We can be better companies because of that. So take that away this week, and we will catch you next week on a next episode. Bye, everyone.
Bye.